Been dreaming about that killer ride? Here's your look at the new Jada Toys Hollywood rides. This is the Freddy Krueger and the 1958 Cadillac Series 62. In the shocking finale of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Nancy Thompson, along with her friends, get inside the 1958 Cadillac Series 62. She believes everything was a dream until she's quickly reminded as the roof closes shut, revealing the rather familiar stripes of Freddy Krueger's sweater. Getting this review underway, we're going to go from bumper to bumper so that I can give you guys the proper measurements for the 1958 Cadillac. Stopping the tape measure right there. That seems like that's right to the end of the bumper. We'll stop it right there. According to the readouts, if you're measuring your cars in inches, then I can tell you 8.7 inches from bumper to bumper. Switching that over to inches, go ahead and doing that right now, you're looking at the car, the one that Freddy built, if you will, looking at it at being 22.1 centimeters long. Many of these Hollywood rides come included with a little metal die-cast figure, and what a fitting character to be included is one Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger is comprised of metal, although there are some areas on him, like his arms for example, that you can see are made of a softer plastic. It's a rather successful little version of Freddy Krueger. You can still make out that he's got the scars. Perhaps he could have been maybe a little shade darker, but he's overall not a too bad of a figure. He's got a pair of brown pants, brown shoes. The only maybe mishap could be the fact that he has striped sleeves. If you were looking really at the 58 Cadillac here from the ending of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger really should have had fully colored, fully red sleeves, and not necessarily striped sleeves. He doesn't actually get that until Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. It's rather interesting as well that he's got a cut right at the top there. I'm trying to figure out why specifically that is there. Maybe it's something that they added after the fact. Maybe this is something that they're going to be using for a future Freddy figure. I'm not really quite certain, but either way, though, a nice looking little side accompanying piece. I always like the fact that we get ourselves these little like die-cast figures that you can put alongside the car. And if anybody is uncertain, shame on them if they happen to walk into my dwellings and they don't recognize this car immediately. At least you've got Freddy Krueger there in the front of the car to tell them, okay, yes, it's from Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to put that right there. He is actually not the only passenger going along for this ride. If you look at the actual car, maybe while you're not maybe seeing too much happening from the driver's side, most definitely though from the passenger side, we can open up the door right there, and inside is actually Nancy Thompson. A really nice, again, additional piece, something else to include in there just to get the enjoyment from the fact that this is the finale car from the original Nightmare on Elm Street film. If you look at Nancy Thompson, she's kind of not quite yet suspecting that something is afoot. Of course, we know otherwise because the striping on the sweater. And then, of course, as they're driving away, poor mother gets sucked through that open window, that little top window of the door. It wasn't really an open window, but a little top window of the door. A really, again, shocking finale. Wes Craven wasn't too keen on the idea of using that as the twist, but I'm actually kind of glad that they did keep that in the film. It was kind of a nice little shocking moment above and beyond simply just having this striped roof. So you get Nancy Thompson inside. Again, she's on the passenger side. You cannot fit Freddy inside simply because, well, you can't bend his legs and he's made of full metal, full die-cast metal. So we'll go ahead and close the door like that. And having a look at this exquisite looking car, I have to ask myself this question. Why has no other company produced a Freddy car? I'm trying to comb the catacombs of the interweb to see if I can find another example of this car being created. And as far as I know, Jada Toys is the only one that's produced the 1958 Cadillac Series 62 with the familiar Freddy Krueger striped sweater colors along the top. Very clever on their part. This is instantly, I would imagine, any horror fans immediate want to pick up because they can add this onto their shelf. It looks really good and it looks very accurate to the way it did in the film. I did notice though on the front of the bumper and actually on the back of the bumper 2 matching stickers, both of which say American Horror Rides. I'm wondering if that is actually the original name that they ended up going with first and foremost when they were starting to produce these cars, and then maybe they eventually changed it out to Hollywood Rides. I'm not really certain the story behind it, but it's interesting the fact that it does say American Story Rides. I think it actually says American, let's see, close-up look. It says American Horror Rides. That's what it says right on the front of the bumper. It's kind of hard to make it out. From a distance, it actually looked like the new font from the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, or even the Friday the 13th remake, kind of had a very similar color and font. It's very hard to make out. And it says American Horror Ride. So maybe that's what they initially had planned when they were producing this series of cars, ultimately just settling maybe on Hollywood Rides. Either way, though, very happy to get this car. It does have... it doesn't feel like it's rubber tires. Perhaps it is rubber tires, but it feels like it's maybe just a softer plastic. The plastic is on the undercarriage of the car. No paint or anything has been added to the underside of the car. However, all the top part of the car is die cast, except for the roof. The roof, looking at it, the way it's attached, I first thought it would be something that you could remove off. I don't mean actually be something that would go into the back of the car, but actually something that you could just detach altogether. There's a little bit of wiggle to it, but not enough that makes me think that you can actually detach it. In fact, when I was moving it, you can see the frame here around the window, the windshield, starting to separate from itself. So I think it's a permanent place, a permanent fixture. It would have been actually nice if they could have removed this, where the back window could have been part of the roof, and then of course only the front section would have remained. But again, if you take the roof off, you're really losing all the appeal of why you would want to have this car in your collection. And then again, because this is the iconic striping of Freddy Krueger's sweater, done here in plastic. The car has some beautiful chrome added to the side paneling here. Also along the back section there as well, some exquisite chrome added to the back bumper, as well as some additional details there on the hood, or on the trunk there, trunk space, and then also on the hood. You can see the deco done there also as well. Translucent plastic has been used for the quad lights, the 4 headlights featured there on the front, and again, a really nice detailing overall on the car. Now the Hollywood Rides, a lot of them do have the hood space, the hood trunk, I should say, the trunk and the hood, as well as the doors can open and close. We'll go ahead and open up everything right now. There's the trunk, and we'll flip it around and we'll open up the hood. There we go. And inside you can see chrome, additional chrome has been added to the motor section right there. Really nicely done also all around. The trunk space doesn't have anything in there, just a spare tire. Nothing else really that you could fit in there. I guess you could put Freddy Krueger if he was just a little bit smaller. You can almost even imagine that he's just kind of hanging out for the ride. You can imagine he's just driving off. He's kind of waving to everybody in the audience watching the film. So that does open and close also as well. Close up the trunk. We'll look at the interior. You see the gas pedal, the brake pedal. The steering wheel is done also in chrome. And you can also see a couple of compartments in there, the rear view mirror, and some additional gold happening, additional chrome happening in there also. 2 seats in the front with that middle seat. That's usually when I was a kid, I was sat in that middle seat when we didn't have enough space. There's always that, granted it wasn't this car, but I always would usually sit right in the middle there. And there's also a full seating section located at the back where some additional friends could go back in there also as well. It's a good hefty piece. In fact, all these Hollywood Rides, being that they are comprised of die-cast, have a good substantial feel to them. As I said, really, for the case here, the 58 Cadillac only really has plastic on the undercarriage, and then it has plastic on the roof. Everything else really does feel like it's die-cast metal. There are, of course, exceptions to the rule, like the bumper feels like it's plastic, and the antenna is plastic, and the back bumper is plastic, but it does feel like everything else is die-cast metal. It does roll quite well as it should. I really wish that for Jada Toys, when they were releasing these, could have actually come with these little cool plastic standees that you could rest the car on top of. The box artwork does have some additional details added. In fact, I'll just move this over just to the side for a second, and we'll bring in the box just so you guys can see. They did actually add a Freddy Krueger glove in there. Now, what's funny, though, is that a lot of companies seem to be using the remake glove when it comes to a lot of their merchandising. I don't know if it just stems from what licensing they have available, but I don't notice, though, a lot of companies do, when they do release something that's supposed to be of the original film series, ultimately they do end up using the remake glove. I just wonder if, again, it boils down to licensing for that. So there is a little bit of additional detailing in the back if you displayed the car always in its box, but I think if you were to be taking it out of the box and displaying it in its true glory, which is really what I like to do myself, maybe as a future down the road sort of thing. I see what I did there, down the road. Down the road, maybe what they could do is like little plastic molded stands, little flat black stands with a little placard on the front. It could be something that could use the same mold for every single car that they release. And on the front placard, they could tell you what the film is and what the model of the car is. Just kind of, that would be nice, just so that all the cars are consistent to one another. Aside from that, though, I really like the look of this car. And again, it's rather odd that there's not many examples. There are no examples of the 1958 Cadillac Series 62, at least from Nightmare on Elm Street, being used in these colors with the striped rooftop. It's a great way of utilizing a classic car with an actual movie signature to it. Like I said, the signature of the striped colors on top of the roof. Nicely done from the folks over at Jada Toys. Jada Toys has really landed on something here with their Hollywood rides, producing popular cars from film and television, ones that we certainly would want to add to our collection. This was the one that caught my attention the most. Chalk it up to the fact I'm a big fan of horror films, and specifically the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. To get the idea of a quote-unquote final car that appears at the very end of the first film, I know it's, again, an ending that Robert Shaye and Wes Craven are really arguing back and forth about. Craven certainly didn't want to go with the cheap ending, the cheap kind of twist ending, but Robert Shaye really advocated for that. I personally like the ending of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Kind of leaves you on a high and wants you really to watch the next one, if you're watching them in series. The nice bonus to this is the fact that this car also includes a Nancy Thompson riding in passenger. And even though you can't fit Freddy Krueger, the die-cast figure that comes included with it, actually in the driver's side, it's nice the fact that they would actually include him as part of this ride. The thing about the Freddy Krueger, though, as good as it is, it doesn't unfortunately have accurate colors to the original Nightmare on Elm Street film. Putting stripes on his sleeves sure fits the bill for Freddy Krueger, but doesn't quite fit the bill for the original Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger, which of course only had full red sleeves. He only got the additional red stripes in his sleeves in part 2 onward. Still, this is a no-brainer for me. Kind of think to myself, why didn't any other company produce a 1958 Cadillac Series 62 with just the trademark Freddy colors on the rooftop? As I said, Jada Toys kind of came up with something rather clever here, something that immediately horror collectors like myself would want to be picking up and adding to their collection. The thing about this also is these cars feel substantially heavy, being that they're made of die-cast metal, or mostly die-cast metal. When you do immediately buy these and pick them up and take them out of the packaging, you really feel like you've invested into something higher quality. It's not a plastic chassis. So really, again, it feels like a good, hefty, weighted collectible, and that's also something I really like with the Jada Toys releases. Future releases maybe that Jada Toys would be considered doing under the banner of Hollywood Rides, I would certainly love to see maybe a standee that you could put the car onto, or at the very least maybe a front placard, even if it's made of plastic, that could go in front of the car telling you what movie it's from and what the name of the model of the car is. I think that would just be an additional bonus and a nice way to display this piece for yourself. Speaking of displaying this for yourself, let me know down below in the comments section if you managed to pick up the Hollywood Rides Freddy Krueger 1958 Cadillac Series 62. That's going to be a long title to put in the video description. Let me know what you guys think of the car, if you picked it up for yourself or based on this review and this review alone. Don't worry, guys, if you are looking to see some more of these Hollywood rides, I got a whole ton of them lined up on this channel that are going to be coming up in future reviews. The key, though, making sure you don't miss out on that, of course, is hitting that subscribe button. Swing on over to Helm Street while you're at it and turn on that bell notification so when future videos are coming onto this channel, like more Hollywood rides, for example, you'll never miss out. And don't be the person that misses out, whatever you do. Don't get on that car. Don't go in the car realizing later that you're still trapped in the dream. Hit that bell notification. Future videos will be coming soon to this channel, guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.